The folks that invited us here tonight asked if I would share a little bit with you. It's okay, I don't mind if you talk. I actually like it. It's like my house, man. It's like home, man. Hey, man, what are you doing here, man? What are you doing? Well, anyway. So I'm just going to give you a brief, conference is about freedom and what freedom is, and it means so many things to so many people. And in your career as a musician, you have to find freedom in a lot of structures of power. So this is an address that I delivered to the Jazz Connect APAP conference. Wow, I am so lucky. I've never been in the coveted readers' polls. I'm not the darling of the critics. Too young to be a legend, too old to be a young lion. I'm not an institution nor part of one. I haven't won this or that competition. I didn't go through this or that jazz program in this or that particular institution. Not quite black, but not exactly white or enough. Even my Latin brethren aren't quite sure what I is. Cuban, Mexican, or Irish, what the hell is my problem? Then there's the issue of what exactly it is that I do. Am I a pianist, a band leader, a composer, an arranger, or the son of one? If they can't seem to figure it out, why should I? Man, am I lucky. Then there's the matter of my music. It's all over the place. I'm one of these guys that connects the dots between Sun Ra and Jimi Hendrix, Steely Dan and Albert Ayler, the Art Ensemble of Chicago and Lupe Fiasco. My art reflects that, even though some people insist that jazz is strictly only this or that, so therefore you have to be only this or that. I don't fit neatly into this or that bin, and neither does my music. This used to bug me out, the fact that being anything other than a jazz musician mattered. That no matter how organic, thoughtful, and heartfelt your art was, there was always a list of peripheral credentials that affected your career. You had to look right, come from the right pedigree, play someone else's definition of the music, and be a spokesman for this or that very specific, narrow viewpoint. I am not that person. Don't interview me if you want the official position. Don't ask me to decide, decipher, denote, or deliver the definitive opinion on what jazz is or isn't, or even if it exists. I leave that to the adults. I'm not the spokesperson, the authority, the arbiter, the gatekeeper, or the source. What I am is someone who is incurably in love with a vast infinity, an endless source of divine wonder. I don't use jazz to affirm my opinions, to justify my politics, or my views on rampant, unbridled capitalism. I don't use it to soothe, affirm, or placate me, or to soothe, affirm, or placate my listeners. I use it to challenge my complacency and my self-righteousness. That's what happens when you face infinity. Your viewpoint becomes meaningless. What matters is your entry point into this infinity. My entry point was and is jazz. Jazz reflected best what I felt facing this infinity. Jazz was daring. Jazz was uncompromising. Constant progression. Pushing the boundaries, but rooted in the joy, the pueblo. All of my heroes took chances and risked ridicule. When Louis Armstrong first started scat singing, he was met with derision. When Louis Armstrong first heard Dizzy Gillespie's bebop, he called it Chinese music. Dizzy's generation did not embrace Ornette Coleman, and on and on and on. Still, our heroes push forward. This music is not static. It grows and evolves and challenges the notion of placation. It challenges the idea of rightness. It forces you to acknowledge the greatness of unbridled possibility. Back then, no one would be foolish enough to claim to be the source of authentication. No one person defined jazz. It didn't need to be justified, validated, controlled, or called America's classical music. It was and is too vast and too infinite. This made jazz music honest to me, the one that best reflected this vastness and infinity. As Robin used to say to Batman, "Holy hole in the donut, am I lucky?" It is precisely this affinity for the indefinable that forced me to create my own route. It is precisely this refusal, this inability to put strangleholds or doilies on my listening that allowed me to do the same with my art. What enabled me to make this music my life's work was the idea that jazz embodied possibility and not classicism with its definitions, rules, and cultural elitism. Because I could not be defined by the machine standards, I created my own world, my own music, my own orchestra, my own organization, my own educational work. When there wasn't an institution that reflected my sense of wonder, I created one that would fill me with wonder. I created an entity that I could not control to serve a music that I could not claim to be the spokesperson for because it's still evolving, still exploring, still alive, and still reflecting the infinite ocean of possibility. This is jazz, this is me, and this is what I now fit into. Really, I am so lucky. And I'm grateful that I wasn't the right fit, the right age, the right listener, the right artist, and the anti-spokesperson. It's made all the difference for me and for the people whose lives I'm privileged to touch. Thank you, infinite reality of music, for making me realize how vast the possibilities are and how meaningless my illusion of control is. I'm not waiting to fit in. We're not waiting to fit in. There are others throughout the planet that are not waiting for the phone to ring. We're creating our own planets, our own organizations, our own festivals, labels, musical forms, and hybrids that are a legitimate part of the original spirit of true jazz. We don't define ourselves by what we are or by what we're not, nor by opinions of what this music is or what it's not. We define our music and our lives by the possibility of what happens when you relinquish control, carry the pueblo in your soul, and leap into the infinity. Man, I am truly lucky. Thank you.